Welcome to Good Service. Folks, welcome back to Good Service Pod. We are your hosts, Ben
and Kevin.
And today we have our team in the house. This is the team, man. Look at our setup right now, dude. We're in super startup mode. Yep. But without these guys, we have Josh. Do you pronounce it Jang or Chang?
Chang, but I say Jang.
Okay. Let's
for
be
my
Korean,
ancestors.
bro. Yeah, we got the freaking Taejong ring on right now. We have Josh Chang, and we have Kevin Kang.
Thank you. Nobody says it right.
I feel like we're all so honored right now.
We
our
want to
ancestors
honor our Korean heritage right now, man.
Hey, this episode is gonna be called Chang.
That's my family group chat name.
No way, Changang.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's kind of
so
sick,
good.
That's kind of sick.
That's so good.
Well, Good Service Pod. You know what? I don't even know if we explain what we do on this podcast. We're still learning how to do this. Look, guys, we got freaking paper towels here as our napkins. So why good service? It is the good service that everybody provides and brings to the circles that they run in. Everybody provides a good service. But also, Kevin and I love to eat. Yes. And we're like, it'll be just sick if we could just do a podcast where you just eat dope food and then eat dope food. But then also talk about stuff that we care about. And so we want to highlight in each episode. We want to highlight a food establishment, and talk about their good food and their good service. So we love play on words, and here we are. So today we are getting to enjoy some Sonora Town. Woo! And we got a selection of stuff. Because I thought they were called chimichangas, but they call them chivichangas.
Chivichangas.
Real ones be knowing.
And we got a whole different spread today. So I don't know, man. Let's just get into it, and then we'll get into some convos.
Yes, we're going to open these up.
Yeah.
Today we got the bean and cheese.
Let's get it.
A good bean and cheese is hard to come by. And the characteristics of good bean and cheese is actually a beautiful, soft flour tortilla. Ooh. That is how you do it, guys. Look at this.
Look at that.
So delicious.
I'm so excited.
Look at that big old green onion on top. My stomach is grumbling.
You gotta have the green onion.
My stomach is grumbling.
Open these sauces. Yeah. You know what the radish is? It's like the fire quencher. Yeah. Like you know when it's too hot, you just eat the radish and it kind of chills the flame down.
That. Look at oh my goodness.
I don't want to spill these sauces right now.
And as we open these up, we'll get a little close up later on just to show y'all. But these look like heaven. This is the chivichangas.
Chivichangas.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
And the sauces, we got 3 sauces.
Oh, these sauces are fire.
You know they got a good blender for the avocado right there. That looks great.
Yes. Yes.
Let's open up this last one here. I think that's chicken. This is steak. I got 4 of each, so everyone could have just one. Just go ham, and still got the burrito for Kev, just in case. Because he had a specific burrito.
He said a specific burrito.
And I was like, I'm gonna make sure he gets his burrito. You know what I mean?
I thought we was all just getting an individual.
You're gonna leave very full today.
No, hey, I still had to. I was like, man, I'm gonna show this dude love. I'm gonna make sure he still gets his. It's the burrito 2.0. That's what he got.
Burrito 2.0.
Not sure what that is.
Man, I don't even know what the 1.0 was.
Yeah. We'll figure
that out. What was the 1.0?
I'm still living in 1.0.
All right.
Oh, you on lock, baby.
All right, let's dig in. Okay. Everybody just kind of just go for it. Chicken, steak, and bean and cheese.
Oh man,
bless.
I'm gonna go with the steak because it's closest to me.
Yep, we're just
set the foundation of bean and cheese. You gotta know.
Ooh, I gotta line mine up though.
So did you guys hear that? Set the foundation. Bean
already
and cheese.
The podcast has started.
Already dropping bars right now.
Did you guys hear that?
Hey, you guys mind lime? Can I just lime this?
Yeah,
lime it up.
Just lime it up. So basically, he just made everything wet.
Well, it provides a little zest and a little zing.
I'm kidding, bro.
All right. Yeah. Oh man, I love this red salsa.
So as we get ready to eat here, another part of the podcast is we love listening to the faith journey of everybody. We most of the time we bring good friends on that love God. We love God. We love talking about faith. We love talking about our journeys. Good service, playing on the word good service. We also love a good service on a good Sunday. And so we love to talk about that and kind of wheel all that in. Ben had to run to like wipe his hands real quick. But as we jump into that, I would love to know just a little bit about that journey, and let's kick it off to someone that already took his bite. Let's kick it off with Chung. So Kevin can get his bite in.
Get his bites in.
Yeah. Let's go.
I'll be take one. Man, where do you start? I think
You can go origin, bro. You can like talk about like where you grew up and all that.
born
and, like,
at a very young age in Columbus, Ohio.
You were born at a very
Ohio.
young age.
Columbus, Ohio.
Isn't everybody born at a very young age?
The youngest.
Okay.
The youngest we'll ever be. But Columbus, Ohio is where I started off at.
What does that mean? He said he was born at a very young age. I thought that was interesting.
Nah, it's so background, my dad's a professor. That's what brought him to the US
Wow.
in the 80s. So he immigrated from Korea to New York.
Wow.
And
You have siblings?
I do. 3 other siblings. 2 brothers and 1 sister. But sister's the oldest.
Wow.
Got an older brother and a younger brother. So as like the middle child, you could say I'm the most well-adjusted and probably the
You're the
funniest.
middle child?
I am. Bro,
Same here,
I'm
bro.
telling you, middle children.
Middle children.
There's something special about us.
There is.
But both of my parents were Christian before immigrating to the U.S. And so for me, when I think about my faith journey, I'm like, that foundation's been laid for before I was even born. And so church was always an important part of, it's actually where they met, right? They met at a church in Korea, came here, knew that they wanted to specifically raise us in a home that was like reflective of their Christian values, while in some ways leaving some like more traditional Korean things behind. Like they told us they like consciously wanted to do that. The details of that, I don't know. But I'm like really grateful for that because I think they were really mindful of how that was going to shape us in our journey here in the US, like their kids here. So I always grew up in church. I feel like it's just been a long journey. Like one of my first memories is church. And then the most formative moments was within a Christian space in college, right? So even though we moved around a lot, church was always a constant.
How was that experience though, the Korean church, like the Korean American, well I don't even want to call it, I guess it is American because it's here in America, but like how was that Korean church experience for you?
It's a weird space where, and like touching on the Asian American experience, you don't quite feel like you fit in either. And I had parents that, of course, they wanted me to continue speaking Korean, staying connected, but that wasn't like a
Where was this, in Ohio?
Ohio, 7 years in Ohio. Okay, yeah, so back 7 years in Ohio, 7 years in Louisiana, 14 years in Texas, and then now I'm like out here.
Got it.
And so church, especially in the South, is such just an integrated part of like the Bible Belt culture. So, you know, regardless of where we went, there was always like church spaces for us. Even though we didn't live in spaces with a lot of Korean populations, we still had people that were, you know, deeply integrated into that community because those Korean churches turned into community centers, right? Cultural community centers for people that were Korean, even if they were like following Jesus or not. Like that's where everyone would end up. That's where you get good Korean food in like Columbus, Ohio, you know? That was, of course, church was one of the first spaces where I felt deep belonging because you are Christian, you're amongst other Christians, but also where you felt like you didn't belong. You didn't speak the
Do you
language, you
feel
didn't
like-
watch the music, or
Sorry, I'm like talking.
No, you good.
You're gonna get that sometimes when we're eating here.
This is the kind of podcast we got.
When did you identify with like, yes, I am a Christian?
Ooh. Again, one of my first memories is me praying the prayer with my dad. I was like young, you know,
Wow.
like 5, 6 maybe.
That is crazy.
Of course, that's like the moment where I like started identifying as Christian, going to church. But I don't ever remember a moment where I wasn't. And so, to answer your question, I guess to the more recent points, I remember it was sophomore year of college for me, where I finally was like, oh, like I think I get it. This takes some skin in the game from my part. It's not just kind of like a place I go to and just be a part of. It's like, no, I gotta invest. This takes vulnerability. This takes a time commitment. This takes my heart, you know? And that's when things started. I started getting more involved with people, and then eventually my first job out of college was working with a college ministry, not with a church, but with an organization that had different chapters of ministries across the U.S.
Was that on purpose?
Yeah, kind of. So I studied film in college when I went to Baylor University, and as it was coming close to graduation, I just never knew what I actually wanted to do with it. Like, I could do it. Like, it's what I'm doing now, but I was never like, I have a dream to go here and do this.
Go ahead and take that bite, bro, because I saw you dip it. I'm gonna ask another question. Were you always like, I'll just say it how it's in my head right now. Were you always a good kid?
Sheltered, good kid, didn't really do too much.
That's
Still
great.
got no tattoos,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
To my mother's dismay, I've been asking about that tattoo.
I love
like,
that.
how'd you feel?
Because I asked that because I wonder if, you know, when you're growing up in a Christian home, you've gone to church your entire life, so you don't know anything outside of that, and you're also a good kid, you're not getting into trouble. I've always wondered, because, you know, I meet people that I'm like, how long have you been Christian? Like, I've been Christian my whole life. I'm like, what? Like, I mean, I know that is possible, but that's not my story, because I'm like, I also grew up in church, but I know I wasn't Christian my whole life. But all I knew was church too. I was born into it. Every Sunday we go, we pray. My mom's like, you're a Christian. We're all Christian. I'm like, okay. But I know that there was a moment where I'm like, no, I'm not a Christian, because I'm not living that Christian life, whatever, right? And so I asked the question about the good kid thing, because I could kind of get maybe confusing, you know, like, am I a Christian? Like, because I guess I've always been, I think, and I've never gotten into trouble, and I never did bad stuff. So, like, how, like, explain to me what that, like, realization is like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm a Christian. I know I'm walking with Jesus. But, like, there's got to be some point where you, like, had to think about it, right? Or am I wrong?
No, 1,000%. I think the hard part for me that I realized is like, oh wow, that moment that I realized that I'm choosing to be a Christian now, and this is what it means. I was like, what was I doing for the past like 18, 19, 20 years, right? I believe, like, you know, as someone who grew up in church, didn't really do nothing. It helps when you have like snitches for siblings too. Like, ooh, they won't let you get away with nothing, you know? So I didn't have a chance to, even if I wanted to, they weren't gonna let me get away with it.
That's not an LA thing. Snitches get
Nope.
stitches around here.
Love y'all, by the way. But grew up with some snitches. I know it was out of love, so I say it in love back. But I didn't have a chance to like go and explore, and I'll say this, like the depths of my own depravity, of like the things that I need Jesus for. I don't think I ever got to like really explore until like college, right? I didn't even do anything that bad in college too, but I think it was just the realization of, oh, I've always lived kind of being told because I'm Christian, because I'm doing this thing, I'm good, I'm chilling.
I got a hard question for you. Why you take a bite?
Yes.
Because we're respectful of
I'll
guests
do it
here. We wanna
anyways.
Make sure, yeah.
I'll do it anyways.
Yeah. This is the chicken. So good, dude. I always forget how good this place is, and I'm like, why don't we just like keep ordering from Best Place? I love this place so much.
Is it close by?
Yeah, dude, it's really close by. But it takes time to make because they make
yeah,
everything
yeah,
fresh.
Shout out Ellen. She's the one who turned
Yeah,
us on to
Sonora Town, we love you.
Yes,
But anyways,
we do.
here's our hard question.
Yes.
Just like Ben, whenever I hear because I know people that were born and raised in the church, so they're culturally Christian their whole
Yes.
lives, and they're good kids. Does it ever feel like, because you hear these wild stories, and this is going to be a raw question, so you could, the hot take, so it's up to you to answer.
Come through.
Do you feel like you have to do something bad?
Ooh, I kind of knew you were gonna go there, but
You know what I mean?
that is
Because
a
like,
great
because you
question.
even said it right now, saying like, oh, I didn't do anything that bad in college. But to me, like, as being on someone that doesn't share that, I don't identify in that. Like, I don't want to say like I'm trying to brag over here that I'm lived in depravity either. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't want to wear it like a badge of honor.
Absolutely.
And I wonder what it feels like. You know what I mean? Like, do you feel like, man, maybe I should, like, maybe I wish I had that story. Like, do I have to go like kick a dog or something? You know what I mean? Like
I'm gonna pray for you.
No, but
Oh
you know what I mean?
gosh.
Like, you have to like go do something
Right.
like wretched to like.
Don't kick a dog, bro.
Don't do that. But like, do you feel?
Just very far left.
I'm sorry,
That's
Kevin.
how- I'm sorry,
That's
Kevin.
next
Sorry,
level
Kevin.
depravity, bro.
It is. Please don't. No violence on this show. I retract tons of statements. But you get what I'm saying? Like, did you ever feel the need for that? Like, oh, I gotta go do something crazy.
I always wondered. I was like, oh man, what if? Because since my dad's a professor, the college thing was always, I'm just gonna go where my dad's at. Because when you have 4 kids, it just financially makes sense where you have heavy discount for being a professor. But I thought, man, if I went to a different state school, like an hour or 2 down the road, how my life would be so different. I think it's very easy to get stuck in the like that train of thought. You were like, I have to go do something bad so I can really feel how like good God is. But I think that's the blessing of having community with different stories. Like people that I know in my life that don't have my story, they share about how God is good to them. I get to share how like God's been a constant, but it also hasn't been like just sunshine the whole time. It's that grass, the greener grass mentality of like, oh, how much stronger would my life, like my relationship with Jesus be if I had that story, if I had those like degen experiences. I'm like, I'm sure it'd be different, but also like, I'm sure there are plenty of people who hear my story and they're like, man, I wish I grew up in this environment so I could avoid whatever pain I had to go through, right? And I'm like, that's why we can't do faith alone. That's why we need each other. Also, I think in the midst of that, God was like, nah, your story is beautiful. There are people who want your story.
Yeah.
Like the way that you want other people's story, they want yours. So like, you can sit here and think about what if I did this or what if I did that, but he's like, I've given you this, and like, what are you gonna do with it? How are you gonna continue to shape that?
But on top of that too, the road is always narrow, right? We learn this as we trudge through our lives, as we trek through our lives, the road gets narrower. So there might be things that make you feel off kilter, off the wagon, that may not be as effective to others too. So
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for sharing that, by the way. Because
of course.
I know that there's like this weird peer pressure too, where it's like, oh man, like everyone's doing all this craziness, and to me as a father, looking at my sons, dude, I pray they grow up to be like you. Like you're like the model of what I'm trying to do.
That's amazing.
And so even in your story today, I want to affirm anyone that's listening too, that for those that have been raised culturally Christian, that abide by the obedience of God through their whole lives, thank you. Because that is what I dream for my sons. Right. So yeah, man.
Yeah, and I also just want to say that like hearing that kind of story, like your story, it just shows the spectrum of how God works.
Yes.
Like you can be under the protection of just like God's favor over your parents, and that transferred to you. You know what I'm saying? Like
1,000%.
God protected your parents by having you grow up the way that you grew up, and like that's a blessing on them. And then like now that you have lived this life, but you're also amongst, as you said, community of people who have very differently colored lives. So there's the spectrum of like, whoa, there's a dude who's like freaking crazy gang member, and now he's a prison minister. And then like there's people like, again, just all through that spectrum of like, you don't have to be that and you don't have to be that. So like Johnny could probably be looking at you, he's like, dang, this dude just, his parents really like sure, you can call it good parenting, which it is, but that's by the grace of God. Like by the grace of God, your parents brought you up well, and then like blessed them through you growing up the way that you did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's for everyone. It's for all of us to be able to look around the room and be like, whoa, like that's dope. Like, and then that same person look at you like, whoa, that's dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as you bring up the parenting thing, because you have kids, right? Like, I'm sure that's what you're praying for. Like, Lord, like, why do you think I'm trying so hard to like be a good father? Because I want my kids to grow up like that.
I would love to encourage and say, for people like Josh and in your life right now, you're what a beautiful broken cycle looks like. And I can't wait to break the generational pain in the circles in my life.
Right.
And so this is what I strive to do, man.
Amen. Let's
For
go.
real.
I think that, my parents, they didn't do everything perfectly, but man, I love that they chose this was going to be the thing that they were like, we're going to make sure they at least have this.
Right.
Because now my siblings and I, 30s, late 20s.
How old are you?
30. Just turned 30.
Nice.
Entered the third
Let's go.
decade.
Let's go.
We're so different now. We grew up in church, but I'm out here. My faith looks different now than it did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It may look different to them. They may have some questions, but for me, I'm like, no, I think I'm following Jesus actually very closely now because it's honest. And I think that's like the foundation that they want. Like even like as they're talking about like just like be honest with like Jesus, be honest with yourself, be honest with people. I feel like I've been honestly following where my spiritual like journey has taken me to where I am doing what I'm doing now. I'm breaking bread with people that I'm breaking bread with now. That's the beautiful part is that they set that foundation and opened up the precedent of like just go and like earnestly and honestly seek.
Because as God showed love to your parents, that love embodied to their kids, and you exude love, bro.
You absolutely do.
I try.
You absolutely
I got
do.
plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know.
Now humility though, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
But you know,
but
going off of that, like I see, because you know what it is like when you have this like capacity to do something that almost seems like effortless. It's because it's overflow, bro. It's there's so much in you that like what else comes out is just overflow. So your parents having loved you so well, and you just have been filled with like a family that just loved you, so that you're just able to outpour that.
Yeah.
And if it's probably just easy for you because you're just like, dude, because I received so much. You know what I mean? So
They modeled it and they made sure like our friends received that love too, even if they didn't have homes where parents were like that, even vocal or open about their love. People talk about like immigrant, like Asian parents, and they're like, no, I didn't hear I love you. I'm like, that's not my story. I was hugged by both my parents, you know? Like, that's why I'm as soft as I am now.
That's dope, man.
But it's like, I understand that's a gift that I got to share with my friends as I was growing up. It's just like my family. And even just like thinking now, I'm just like, like.
Hey, softness and kindness is strength.
It's always so
That's
strong.
something that we gotta
It's crazy.
really press on this culture.
1000%.
And that's
Big
something
believer.
that at least some of the new generations, they're starting to catch on to that, which is great.
Yeah.
So I just can't wait for more and more of that.
I feel like people knock Gen Z all the time, but I feel like Gen Z,
Dude.
we got some very loving Gen Zers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
They're
for real.
filled with a lot of love and a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, let's just talk about Josh real quick. And we were saying that how beautiful it is to meet somebody who has stayed on the path the whole time. And it's very rare, I feel like, especially in Los Angeles, to meet somebody who's like, yeah, I've been dedicated, I've been on the path the entire time. You know what I mean? Especially with like my story, it's very different. Let's just segue into that.
Yeah. Now, you know, if you don't feel comfortable talking about this while cameras, I mean, again, we don't even use this stuff anyway, but because I know your father passed away, right?
Yeah.
When did he pass?
He passed last year, February 15th, so 2022. Wow. So that's it's actually fine. Yeah, I'm very comfortable talking about it at this point.
It's interesting. I mean, nothing happens for nothing, right? Like today is my dad's 3-year anniversary of him passing, and I thought about it because I got a calendar reminder last night at like 12:30, whatever a.m. But that was actually like the time that he passed through because we got a call like at like 1 a.m. saying that he was gone. And yeah, it's been like a long process of just like thinking through and praying about, because I don't know what your relationship with your dad was, but mine wasn't good. Like I think I just resented him my entire life. And then even after he got shot and survived, I still resented him, or I think I resented him even more because I was like, you were never good, and like not a good father, not a good husband, and now you're just a burden. Now we gotta take care of you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Lord, what? You know what I mean? And I just didn't get it. But like, I don't even think I really understood until after he passed, like why? Because I think God made it like just clear to me that like that was actually a gift to me. It's so weird to say that. Like, how can my dad getting shot be a gift? So I think it was a gift to him, because he got saved after he got shot.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So like, it was a gift to everybody, bro. Like my family, like it's so weird to say that. I'm like, why am I even saying that? Like, where's this coming from? But it's just a realization that I've gotten after he passed. And I think I kind of really sat on it, like maybe, so he passed in 2020, and I think it was like 22. Well, definitely by 21, I was processing it, you know, like I learned to let go of resentment. And like what I feel now is like, for one, I know the reason why I know it's a gift, not only just because people got saved through it, which is for sure the gift, but like I'm talking about, if my dad didn't get shot when I was 14, that dude, you're the most impressionable age at that time, especially as a boy. That's when you're like, you know, you're puberty, and then you want to be cool, and like,
yeah, you're
like,
just becoming a man.
You're
Like
just-
you're entering into adulthood around
entering
that
into
time.
adulthood. And if my dad was still around, I would have become like him. He would have been my father figure that I would have looked up to and be like, I guess this is what a man is supposed to be.
Right.
This is what a husband is supposed to be. This is what a father's supposed to be. And God's like, no, I don't want you growing up like that. So he allowed him to get shot so that he stopped being my father figure.
Wow.
And I started looking to other father figures who are actually godly. And God supplied a bunch of these like spiritual father figures into my life.
Wow.
And I began to model what they did and how they thought and how they treated people, how they treated their wives, their children. And I just got to, you know, and I wasn't actively doing this like, oh, I need a better father figure. I'm gonna go find some father figures. Like, that's how I know parenting is so powerful, because you don't even know, but you're looking for mother and father figures throughout your life. If you're not getting that at home, you're looking elsewhere. And so I know that God saved me from becoming my dad by taking him out of my picture, though he kept him there physically. So it was almost like the shell of him was there, which was how I became like, whoa, God's real. Like the doctor said he was supposed to die, and now he's not dead and he's here. That's a miracle. So now I believe in God. God's real. So it's like he took him away, but he kept him there. And then, sure, the process of like me understanding my relationship with Jesus and finding these father figures to like just enter into my life. And also too, bro, like I think it's a gift, for my dad, because he got saved through this. But then he also, cause he was abusive and stuff like that. Like he like saved my mom from having to like go through his abuse. My sister, my brother, myself, like it was just not what God wanted us to experience. So God's like, I'm just gonna let this happen. Not even I'm gonna make this happen. You know what I mean? Like, so, cause I wanna save these people, and I wanna I wanna not let what could happen, if that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So, and then now, like, you know, as I was thinking about it last night, I was like, man, someday I'm gonna be in heaven, I'm gonna be with God, and I can ask God, why did you let that happen? Not in an angry way. I just want to know what the answer is, because God has an answer. And maybe I already know it. Maybe I'm just saying it right now. It's like, well, you already talked about it on the podcast, so maybe God's like, it's exactly for that. I don't know, but I know I can ask God, and God's going to tell me exactly why, and in the most loving way. And then I can also have a talk with my dad. The conversation that I've never had with him ever in my life, I'm gonna be able to have a talk with him in heaven. And I know he's gonna be proud. I know he's gonna like say all the things that like he saw that like, you know, he was happy for, and like we can celebrate. And like, you know, I'm like getting emotional, but like, you know, the relationship that I've always wanted to have with my father, I'm only gonna have it in heaven. Damn, I didn't even know I was gonna say that. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Ben, I've been thinking about something right now. Have you ever thought that like, because of everything that's been placed in your life, whether it was by God or not, and the way that you have grown up into like such a stellar man, we think that, I don't know if it's just me, I hope you do as well, but we think you're an inspiration, right?
1,000%.
Have you ever felt that like through your actions and what you've been doing recently, or in what you have done, that you felt like your dad was redeemed through you?
I'm thinking that now. Like, I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah,
My
maybe,
dad
maybe
was
he was
redeemed through
placed.
me. What the freak?
Yeah,
That's
maybe
wild.
like all of that stuff. Maybe you as his blood, you were meant to redeem him because he couldn't do it himself.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. I don't know. I never thought about it like that. And I am now. Like, hey, dude, God uses the most weird things to do the most weird things.
True.
You know what I mean? It's just like you would have never expected that. Like plot twist, right? Like God is the king of plot twists. And bro, yeah, I think there's definitely something to that. And like, you know, by the grace of God, bro, like I know, bro, like straight up, if my dad was still alive and he didn't get shot, bro, I'd probably be in jail right now. Like, cause I was going down that like gangster Asian, like with Johnny. That's why I relate to Johnny so much. I'm like, bro, I know all the stuff that you're talking about, bro. Like I was headed there. Cause I would have been angry. I would have not want to be home. So what do? You go out into the streets. You know what I mean? And I was already kind of doing that. And God saved me from that. I was like, nope, you're not doing that. I'm gonna let your dad get shot so you stay home and be with your family, because you got to take care of your family, or you got to look after your brother and sister, and like, don't be stupid, you know? But yeah, like that's what I'm saying, bro. Like my life, if my dad didn't get shot, my life would be totally different.
Right.
And I don't know what kind of different that would be. Cause I know my personality too. Like I'm kind of like crazy sometimes. Like I just go after stuff. Like I just want it. I want it. I'm gonna go after it. And then now that I look back, I'm like, oh, I guess I just kind of been like this go-getter my entire life. I don't know where that comes from. Like, I guess that's just how God designed me. But like, think about going after the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And making sure you get it, but it's the wrong thing. Like, praise God that I didn't go that route. Like, I could have either ended up in jail or dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would have had that anger in my heart still. And like, God helped me release that anger. And that's a miracle, bro. Cause I was an angry kid, bro. Like just mad at everything, mad at the world. But somehow, like, and straight up by grace of God, never mad at him. I never was mad at God. I think I'm being honest when I say that.
Yeah.
I think I was mad at people, and I hated people because I got screwed by people. You know, like my house got robbed by my friends. You know what I mean? Like, so I hated I even became like racist against like white people. I'm like, oh, they're white? No, I don't mess with white people. Like they're the enemy because they're the ones who've like been racist towards me my whole life. My white skater friends, they robbed my house. I'm like F white people. Like I was literally like that. I would literally get into fights with white kids at school because they would be picking on like the nerdy whatever, and I would just go after those dudes.
It's tough being a minority, man.
It
like,
is tough.
I remember walking down the street in Echo Park. It was just like a random night, and dude pulls up to me and goes, "What's good, Luke Kang?" And I was a little mad at him because like my hair is long, right? And like he got half of it right because my last name is Kang.
that makes even more.
I was like, because it's also a compliment too.
I know.
was
I
just
kind of would
like,
have been like, hey, bro, I know you meant to be racist, but I take that as a
that's
compliment.
like that's offsides, like 3 yards penalty. But like, all right, I'm just gonna have to let this slide right now. I had a great night.
That's so good.
But yeah, I
bro.
understand.
Yeah.
It's super complex.
It is.
With the relationships of being like a minority in this country. And Ben, I relate to your story a lot. Like for me, I think my walk with Christ started with my dad as well, in a different way. So when I was a kid, I fell down a set of stairs. It was like right outside the apartment complex that I lived in, and I don't know if you can tell, but I have a little bit of a scar like over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it used to be a bigger scar when I was a kid, but I fell down these set of stairs, and the doctors thought I was gonna have brain damage. And I went to the ICU, so my dad prayed and was like, "Yo, God, if you save my child, I'll become a pastor."
Whoa.
Yeah, so it started from there, and like I always felt like there's this weird responsibility and this like role that I was put into where as a child I was responsible for like my family's faith in a certain way, right? Even though that's like not entirely what it is. But I ended up being somewhat normal. I think I have a little bit of like neurodivergent tendencies, but who doesn't these days, right?
Right.
That's what's up, right? You know what I'm saying?
I think I got that too, bro.
Yeah. I don't do well with Adderall, but I'm open to the other stuff. But not for recreational use, just for like
Medicinal
use.
Yes,
I do.
yeah, I believe that.
So with my family, my dad becomes a pastor. So I see him go to minister school. He graduates, and he starts up a church. It's a really small church. It used to be in Gardena. There's this like Freemason church that we used to like rent out. So it was weird because it was like Mason, but we're Baptist.
Yeah.
So we're like going in, and we're like having service over there, and it was just a small group of us at the time. But before that, I have floated throughout like a bunch of like Korean churches, and so I've also been through like the not so pleasant side of like Korean American churches out over here. We have been floating around until my dad decided like, hey, I'm just gonna like plant roots. We were in Gardena, and then we had the church. We had a few families that were coming out week after week. So as a child, like that's where I was every Sunday. And my dad was the kind of guy who never forced Christianity onto me. Which is very different from the other pastors that I saw within the ministries, right? Because I would go over to like these other pastors' houses, and their kids were like, yeah, my dad makes me study the Bible until 7 p.m. before I can play 1 hour of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And I was like, my dad never made me do any of that. And I was like, my dad is so dope.
Wow, that's dope. It's so interesting because I feel like a lot of the stories that you hear about pastors' kids who like went through I have to study like Bible every day.
Yeah.
Those not making assumptions, but based off of like what you said about your dad's story of like basically had an act of God that was like, look, if you do this, like I'll become a pastor. Feels less like I want to be a pastor to be a great Bible teacher, and more of like, nah, it's just me and God. And it's like that seems like such a raw place to come from and lead from, to where it makes sense that he's like, yo, like I need you to figure this out for yourself. Because like sounds like your dad had a story that he was like, that's a very personal experience with God. And he's like, I would want my children to also have that personal. So yeah, I mean, I think that's really cool because I hear stories of people that, you know, their parents are pastors and it just leaves a really sour taste in their mouth.
Yeah. Dude,
to where it's
there's
like,
so
it's
many
not
stories.
chosen. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
The
so
PK
many
story.
stories.
We all know what the PK story
Yo, we could have like
is,
a
right?
20 episode series on PKs.
We
and then
for
yeah.
sure can. We for sure can.
I mean, I did all the fun stuff as a PK, like as expected, but like
So-
in the end, I think because my dad allowed me to be so free with my faith, it in turn like helped me find him, right? So our church ended up closing down, so it was just like me and my family. We were having service on our couch in the living room, so it's just the four of us, and we're singing like the chansonga and like,
Shout
you know
out.
what I mean, the back of the Bible, and then you got like the 132 Korean songs that are in the back.
Yeah, bro.
We're singing that song.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you guys remember this song, but it's like 당신은 사랑받기 위해 태어난
Oh, yeah.
That was my jam, dude.
That was the jam.
Yo, it was so good.
Love it.
If anybody can make a light fee remix to that, I would like love that.
Bro, someone's gonna
Be
do that
kind
now.
of gas, not gonna lie.
That's hella funny.
But yeah, so it was just a small group of us, my family, and then we would go to Bible study every Sunday as a group, and then that lasted until I got into college. And then when I got into college, I started dancing in the Korean American Student Association, and then that was held at the rehearsals were held at Step Off Dance Ministry.
Yeah. What school were you at?
Cal State Long Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, so my experience within like the Christian space has always been different because the ministry that I went to, like all the gangsters and like people, like after service, people went outside to smoke cigarettes. I was like, yo, this is really chill.
Yeah.
Super chill.
Yeah, it was super chill.
Super chill.
You know, because I started dancing when I turned 18. I wanted to also, you know, keep that in line with my faith. So I joined up Step Off Dance Ministry. That was run by Chant the Mao and David Yee. If you know them, they're like old school TM Millennia.
Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. So they were like my first mentors, along with like Kathy's son Kaluksa. That's actually where I first met Ellen. Yeah. Ellen taught a workshop for us at that little at that church, and then Keone and Mari would come in, and the Shit Kings came in to like teach. So it was just a really inspiring experience where like I was able to see other Christians in the space, and they were just like excellent.
Shit Kings came and taught?
Shit Kings, yeah,
They're
they
believers?
came through. I have no idea, but they came through.
I'm curious now.
Yeah, I remember Lando was there.
Yeah.
Lando, Lydia was also there, Lydia Peg. So it was a really cool experience to be able to see like, oh wow, there's actually a lot more faith-based like dancers in the community. So I stayed with Step Off Dance Ministry for a long time, and then I ended up with Ellen. I met her at Step Off Dance Ministry, and then I ended up working with her a few years later down the road for Steezy, where me and Josh were working.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we were technical producers. You were a technical producer too, right? Yeah, technical producers. So we work on like audio and camera. So again, we're happy to be here and help you guys out.
That's how we have this podcast.
That's how we got this
God
podcast.
just brought y'all here to make this happen.
Yeah, team of two.
That's so sick, man. I love that.
Yeah, just kept it going. Like, I retired from Step Off like a little bit before.
What kind of shows would you guys do? Where did Step Off like perform and stuff?
Man, okay, we did one. Okay, the one that was like the most notable. We went to this like Chinese Christian conference, and it was crazy because like it was we were like a hip hop team, right? Choreography team, and we had to dance in front of like a big ballroom of conservative Chinese people.
Oh shoot!
And like, so we performed like a 6-minute set. Like we're dancing to like Lecrae and like Andy Mineo. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And
they're probably like, "What is this devil music?
What is it?" But they're like, "Yo, I don't know. Are you really listening though?"
Right.
Because they're talking about like, you know, he's talking about Christ.
Right.
So we get off stage to perform. We did like, again, Lecrae, Trip Lee, like all the Christian rappers, and then we get off stage and it's just quiet. It's quiet and like it's because I don't think they knew what to expect, but that was like you know we started off by doing that and then we moved our way into like you know the dance competition, so we ended up in like Ultimate Brawl and like I don't know if we did Fusion and things like that. I don't know if we did like Maxed Out, but we were around in the scene for a while.
What years was this?
This I gotta say this is like like I've been around the team since 2012 to 2018.
Oh, wow.
Around that time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I met them in 2010.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's been around for a minute. So is Step Off still going?
Sodium, I think
are they now Sodium?
Yeah, they're called Sodium.
Yeah,
now.
I went to teach a workshop for them. I didn't know that was Step Off.
Yeah.
But they were just called Sodium.
Yeah. And then a bunch of like, you know, church teams split off around that time. It was all in like Buena Park.
Got it.
Like V3 started popping up. I'm trying to think about what else. There's another church called Sarang, and they had like a dance room too. So then we were using that as a rehearsal space. So, yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, I taught Sodium at Snow Globe.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like a few years ago. It was like 2017 or something like that. Yeah, crazy. Wow. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
But so like where you're at now, I mean, you started coming out to, was it Ellen that hit you up about our Bible studies?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then like, where were you at in life when you decided to come? Like, were you in a good place? Were you in a, like, yeah, where were you at?
In my life?
You at?
Where am I? Dang, where am I right now, right? I mean, for me, especially with my walk with faith, I kind of like allow things to happen, and I think by allowing those things to happen is a lot of times where I like meet and feel God's presence. So when Ellen hit me up, because I have been meaning to hang out with her for like months, and I had just talked to Vincent. We were talking about some music video stuff,
Oh, that time when I came into the place and you guys were in the living room.
Yeah.
That time,
And then we were talking about like AI and stable diffusion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great great conversation. Love the way that technology interacts. I'm a big science guy. For someone who's Christian, so sometimes it's like it feels at odds with
what's so
who
funny?
I am as a person.
It's I get a kick out of like people like, is it God or is it science? I'm like, bro, it's both.
That's what
God
I'm saying.
created science. That's the system in which all this stuff works. Like,
But also
You know what I'm saying?
inherently, like in science, you're to question things, but also like isn't there like a Bible verse where you're encouraged to also question if things are for God, right?
100%. Hey,
What's
you know
up, Kevin? Come back
This
in.
is such a God thing, Kevin. I'll tell you why in a second. But we're gonna just keep. We've been rolling.
I love it.
We've been rolling.
I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all.
See, this is how you guys are. No. I think you should just
sit right there.
keep
Sit right
sitting
there.
there,
Sit right
and then.
there, bro.
So here's why. Like, man, you know what's so fun about this? We're literally experiencing God work in real time.
Ooh.
It's just like you hopping out for this meeting, and then you're like, hey, just keep going, because we were just gonna stop and we're just gonna eat and whatever. But I'm like, no, like you felt it, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna keep going, and then it just opened up a conversation between me and Kevin that we were supposed to have. Yes, I want to clank with everybody.
Yeah.
Just a conversation, and I'm like glad that we were rolling on it, because bro, I feel like this dude just dropped a prophetic word on me in real time, bro. I'm just like, what the frick did you just say? And I was like, dude, this is crazy. But wow, Kevin, thanks for joining us back. He just came. He had to hop out. He had a meeting. That sometimes
Just
it
a little
happens.
quickie.
Sometimes you gotta hop out for a meeting.
Kevin,
And
real
he's
quick,
right
Kevin,
back.
how you feeling right now?
I feel good.
You feel good? You feel ready for a burrito 2.0 right now?
Oh yeah, we gotta crack that burrito 2.0.
We've been waiting
We
for you to
cannot
crack this
wrap it
burrito
before-
open the whole time, bro.
Look at this. That was burrito swag, dude. He just burrito swagged it up right now.
Is there?
We rolled out the red carpet for that one.
There is maybe.
Man, this is so just real, guys. Isn't this? This is wonderful. We're literally just sharing a burrito.
Hey, I'm okay with like taking a bite and you taking a bite. Like it's fine, man.
Well, that's true. Let's not cut it. Let's
Yeah.
not cut it. Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like break bread, but like break burrito right now.
Burrito.
Break burrito right
Break
now.
burrito today.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, we're not wrapping up
Startup
this
life.
episode until burrito 2.0
No,
gets
absolutely not.
a good giant bite out of both of y'all.
Tell me the difference between that and 1.0.
All right, burrito 2.0, Sonora Town. Thank you.
Yes.
Also, shout out Sonora Town, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that fire? Well, what is that? What's in
My
there?
God, dude, it's different.
It's different?
Yeah, it's
Man,
the
now I gotta
costilla.
take a bite
That
out
new
of it.
iOS update for burritos is here.
Yeah, Kevin, you go. You first.
all you, big
Your-
dog.
Man, after you, please.
You ordered
I've
it.
had a few of these. So.
Oh, you've already had this before?
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay, so you already knew exactly what this
He's in the
was.
know.
Yo.
Okay.
So Ellen knew about Sonora Town because of us.
Oh!
Yeah, Ellen knew because of us. Cause when she would shoot with us at Steezy, we would be like, "Hey, what do you want for
You know
lunch?"
what? I think she
and
did
we
tell
would
us that.
pulled
She
out
did tell us that.
Shout out
Sonora
Steezy.
Town.
Like,
Shout out
Shout out
Steezy.
Steezy.
Shout
They
out Sonora
Just
Town.
did a campaign with Nike.
Let's go.
So proud of you
Shout out.
guys.
Let's go.
Shout out.
All right, here we go.
Shout out
2.0
Steezy.
bite.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's got that smoky flavor.
It is different.
It's different. It's that grilled meat.
Legitimately,
We all got to take a bite.
the fact that this
Oh,
was
yeah.
a block away from the Steezy office is
Yeah.
like
So the
criminal.
chimichanga has shredded beef for the little burritos, but then for this one it's the costilla, so it's a little different.
So you're putting us on game right now. We don't even know.
Yes, sir.
right
Yeah.
at Sonora Town. They know
Yo.
how to do it.
And then they're the only ones that I know that put cabbage in their tacos.
Oh, that's interesting.
We
That's
appreciate it.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna eat these before this is over. But anyways,
Yeah. Well, for the sake of time, because I got a jam on this, but you know what? I think this is just perfectly. God put a perfect little ribbon on this episode. I feel like we talked about what we were supposed to talk about. I'm over here getting blasted with encouragement from this dude, and then sharing like both of y'all's God stories is crazy. Straight up, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I also realized we're all dripped in Food Fighters universe.
All right, hang on a second. Hold up.
We're dripped. Shout out.
Drippity drip. He's taking off his
Yeah,
shirt. Here you go.
the reveal right there.
Drippity drip.
Wait, we gotta show you. I gotta show you the back of this one. There's a hot dog, but he looks like Ryu from Street Fighter.
Yeah, shout out Jasper Wong. Anyways, you know, I'm gonna look back on this because I don't know what you guys talked on, but I'd love to dig deeper later on. But one thing is, like, we just wanted everybody to meet the team. Like, this is the squad.
To the mic.
This is the squad. Oh, there's a mic right here.
Oh, there's a mic.
So yeah, this is the squad. These are the guys behind the scenes, but we also wanted to bring them in front of camera so everybody knows that, you know, how we're just walking life together. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to break bread together, break burritos together, and be able to really show the authentic side to the audience that all of this gets done with the team. It's not just Ben and I just sitting here and then magically everything edits itself. So shout out to every podcast, every TV show, every YouTube channel, everything out there, all the people behind the scenes working hard. Thank you guys, because we love y'all, because we know how it works, and we appreciate giving us amplified voices for the kingdom.
Yep.
You know, we love that.
Do love that. I think that's it, man. I think we're gonna have. We don't even have socials yet, but we will. Once we have,
follow us at the socials below.
Yes. Once we have them, you will see them, and then please follow them and subscribe, like all that stuff. Write us a review, share it
right here.
Yep, right there. That's
we're gonna edit it right
there. Yeah, follow us, subscribe, all the good stuff. Real talk, thank you guys for joining our meal. Maybe, hey, you know what? Maybe eat with us. You know, it's like mukbang style. You know how some people like to eat while they watch other people eat? I do. So maybe do that.
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of? I feel like in those Korean movies, like they're always actually eating. And it just feels kind of like that conversation. Because it feels more visceral, right?
That's where mukbangs
do they do that?
No, they actually eat. Yeah, because in American
and like
movies,
they like hella mashike mogor, like
they're like slurping. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
they're actually eating versus like a lot of American
slurp more
movies
next
don't.
time. That's
we'll slurp more. We need ASMR.
We can have different segments of just eating.
We can, dude. We can go crazy. We're going crazy already. Okay, we got to wrap this up.
Oh God, is it awesome? God,
I'm cutting off his mic.
No.
it sounds like the Yin Yang Twins, but for Christian music.
Good service pod. We out of here.